Hey guys, Noel here, and it is Memorial Day. It is Monday night, and while we have a little bit of time on our hands since I was responsible and graded a bunch of papers last night, I thought it would be fun for us to do some live streaming. I don't know how long exactly this live stream is going to go, because at some point I would like to get some Final Fantasy VII Remake alone time, but nevertheless, I have been having a lot of fun doing these streams, and I appreciate all the people who come by and chat. So tonight we're going to be playing some beat 'em ups. We're going to be playing some Snowboard Kids, and we're going to be playing whatever else we find to be interesting at the moment. So we're going to start off this live stream with the best beat 'em up ever. Maybe in the ballpark, we have things like Captain America and the Avengers, X-Men, The Simpsons, Streets of Rage 2. But to me, this is the standard by which all others in the genre aspire to. It's Final Fight. And we're going to be playing the arcade version of Final Fight on the Xbox 360. I think it might also be fun for us to play some Mighty Final Fight on the Famicom a little bit later in this review. But nevertheless, Final Fight, the arcade version, is what we're going to be starting with. So, I've got my cup of coffee and a PlayStation cup. I've got my camera stand set up. And as soon as I find my controller, which is right here, the gaming will begin. So, we are going to set up our camera like so, and learn about the struggles of newly elected Mayor of Metro City Mike Hager as he struggles to maintain order and rescue his beautiful damsel in distress daughter. Sometime in the 90s. Ah, the villainous Mad Gear Gang. Trying to keep corruption and politics going. I'm going to hit the lights, and I will be right back. Man, look at those wraparound sunglasses and that big toothy grin. He's living his best life. Ah, Cody. Before he's been hardened by prison. And Guy, the super cool ninja buddy. So, this final fight can feature arranged music and screen filters. I'm one for the pixel perfect style, but I do like the arranged music very much. So we are going to keep the arranged music. And I'm always, well, Hager's awesome, Guy is cool. I'm a Cody person, mainly because I think he's very versatile, and he has the ability to throw knives. So, and you not only throw knives, they all have the ability to throw knives. He has the ability to hang on to a knife as well as throw it. And he's got that really cool roundhouse kick. Good stuff. Now, some of you may or may not know, Final Fight was originally the sequel to Street Fighter. It's called Street Fighter 89, and was debuted as such on in Japanese video game shows. Not video game shows like TV shows, like trade shows where they go and debut arcade cabinets and whatnot. And people said, well, this game's awesome, but where's Ken and Ryu? What does this have to do with Street Fighter? Ironically, when it came to Street Fighter 3, they tried to release the game without Ken and Ryu again, and they're like, where's Ken and Ryu? You're making a sequel to the game without the main characters. It's not Street Fighter without Ken and Ryu. And that's why, when Pista Takahashi went to SNK and started doing all his spiritual successors to Street Fighter, you always had characters that were just like Ken and Ryu, whether it be Rio and Robert or Terry and Andy, Really nice music. Another game that features arranged music is the Final Fight for Sega CD, which I do own, and it's fantastic. It's the best console version of Final Fight, in my opinion. The only, kind of weird thing is they give Trixie and Poison bicycle shorts instead of their normal Daisy Dukes, but, whatever, it's all good. It's kind of a toss-up whether I like the music in Sega CD's Final Fight better or this arranged track better, but they're both excellent. Another really great port of Final Fight is the Final Fight on the Game Boy Advance called Final Fight 1. And that game is great because it features all Cody, Hager, and Guy, like it's supposed to, which a Super Nintendo one did not. But it also features, and it has all the arcade levels, which a Super Nintendo one did not. It has I would say, something approximating, if not, an arcade perfect port of the game. And the other thing that it has is Diego, my brother from another mother. We're playing some Final Fight, Diego, and I was just saying how Final Fight 1 on the Game Boy Advance has the Street Fighter Zero style sprites of Cody and Guy, if you'd like. So you can have Cody in his jail outfit and Guy in his Street Fighter Zero/Alpha Gi. So, yeah. Diego, are you having a good Memorial Day, my friend? We've actually just been chillaxing here. I think we're definitely going to be playing some beat-em-ups tonight. I got Snowboard Kids queued up. And, I don't know how late I exactly want to go, because I do want to get some solo time for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Because as fun as that would be to play the game with you guys, I feel like I wouldn't be able to absorb the story as much, because I just am not good at multitasking. Playing... Cody, wake up. There you go. Fighting Damned here, also known as Thrasher. And this cool blonde dreadlocked man has been KO'd. We are playing the Final Fight arcade game on the Xbox 360, Diego. So this features arcade perfect graphics and arranged music. We can't set it to the original music, but I really do like the arranged music. And I was just saying before you got here that I don't know which music I like better, this one or the Sega CD's arranged music. I'm happy you're having a good Memorial Day. My Memorial Day has been super chill. I basically beat King of Fighters 94 by cheating. I may have beaten that game a million times without cheating, but I wanted to beat it without losing because Santino wanted to play it. And my Neo Geo has cheat dip switches in it, so I basically just did the girls' team and do no damage. So, so I won with King, Yuri, and Mai. And then I tried to find out if there was a way to beat Rugal on King of Fighters 94, and there's not. So that kind of disappointed Santino. And then I went through a whole process of unlocking Akuma on X-Men Children of the Atoms arcade 1-up cabinet. And it's a bit of a pain in the neck to do, but we did do it. So long story short, my Memorial Day has been good. We had some Street Fighter, the animated movie, playing in the background. That was always fun. It's one of those movies that I can watch a million times. Yes, Final Fight is Street Fighter in beat-em-up form. And I was just saying that Final Fight was supposed to be the sequel to the original Street Fighter. It was called Street Fighter 89, and then people were like, where is Ken and Ryu? So they're like, oh yeah, we'll just call it Final Fight. So, actually, I think the original name of it was Final Fight, and they're like, well, this is so cool, and Street Fighter was popular, we can just call it Street Fighter 89. But it is cool that the Final Fight characters do end up in Street Fighter games. And you definitely have Cody and Guy and Poison and all of them, and Street Fighter Alphas and Street Fighter 4s and 5s and all that kind of good stuff. I'm going to actually move our camera just a smidge here. Alright. Noel, are you a fan of the Russian ice skater Medvedeva? I certainly am, and I love her Sailor Moon gear. Gosh darn it, we are gonna have to move this camera back a little bit. No, yeah, she's super cool. I like her. I like how she likes anime. I like how she is, good looking and crazy talented. She lives for her craft. And once again, Sailor Moon outfits. So yes, Medvedeva is awesome. I wanted her. She deserved to win the gold medal. I don't know why she didn't win the gold medal, but whatever, it happens. Nothing like finding some beer in a barrel on a subway. These guys have clearly been to New York City. It has the same graphics as Street Fighter 2. It's true. In fact, in Street Fighter 5, 2P is in the barrel stage. I've never been good at barrel stages in Street Fighter. Ah, the Muramasa. The sword that can kill Sabretooth. Gosh darn it, Elgato. In Hollywood. It's like Hollywood Hulk Hogan if he just ever went homeless. When I was younger, growing up, I was a Sega Genesis person. Not that I hated Super Nintendo or anything like that, but I had the Sega Genesis growing up. And my friend had a Super Nintendo, and really the only thing on Super Nintendo that I really envied that he had that I didn't have was Final Fight. And I would just wait for him to invite me over and play Final Fight. And when he did, I would be super happy. And then one day, it was my turn to play, and he lost to Katana, and he got so angry, he punted the Super Nintendo across the room, and I didn't get to play because he broke the Super Nintendo. Now, luckily, that Super Nintendo was able to get repaired. And I basically bought it from my friend years later until it broke. And the reason it broke was weird. Just the AC adapter in the back just... the pin of it just broke off in the system, so for a long time I was using that as a stand for my YouTube videos, but my wife got this tablet book stand thing, so I'm using that now, and it works actually better, so. Speaking of Katana, that's coming up. Or Sodom, as he's known. A man like me, who is a Westerner who believes that he's Japanese. I'm rubbing my eyes right now. That is a no-no in Corona time, but hopefully we'll be okay. Alright, let's... the key to beating Katana here is to run up to him and throw him. Gosh darn it, come on. You always try to, dodge him, so... Yeah, he's super tricky here. How do you know about Rebelde? I know about Rebelde from Univision. So Univision is channel 60 on the cable I have. And Rebelde used to be on at 3 o'clock back in about 2008, 2009. And I just started, the girls' school uniforms caught my eye, obviously, and then, everyone was just wearing, it was just like a Britney Spears music video in the form of a, Beverly Hills 90210 type thing, which was, great, and their music was great, too, so, I got into Rebelde for a combination of the music and the style, and, so, yeah, it's good stuff. Just trying to position our camera here. Okay, we're gonna break some cars here. Oh my god! Oh my god! Never works for you. You gotta hurry up, hurry up. Go, 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 go. Come on, come on, come on, come on. I'm not gonna make it. Well, I mean, I did a lot of damage to his car. He's like, what's this? Yeah, Anahi was definitely my favorite out of the Rebelde crew. I actually have Rebelde RBD's English album. It's not very good. Their Mexican stuff is way better. Like the opening credits to Rebelde were great. I mean, it was like anime quality, like pop music, you know. I mean, I actually taped some of the episodes of like the Rebelde family kind of spin-off series about the real cast. You know, kind of playing themselves in fictional form. So yeah, I was a big Rebelde person. Yeah, it's cool. I have a Rebelde DVD laying around somewhere, and I taped a bunch of stuff. 406. I will check that out. So that's a Mexican telenovela. Red Hair Girl is my favorite. What, Dolce on Rebelde? I think her name is Dolce Maria. Let's keep the pipe. The only thing about this app that I'm using, the camera that it uses, I don't think you can actually adjust the brightness in film. So, like, if I'm doing a video game review, I can actually adjust, and I notice the contrast is a bit high, I can actually go in, touch the screen mid-view and try to adjust the brightness, but I don't think I can do that with this app here. But other than that, it's good. Although I will tell you, something went weird with the last live stream we did. So I think you can see all of it on YouTube, but in some cases when I was trying to see it, it was like missing the first hour of it. But I think because something went wrong with it saving on my phone, I think. But when I put it in the playlist for my live streams, and it all showed up on my phone. So hopefully you guys can see it. Now, I don't know how many people actually watch live streams after they're done, but I would like to be able to record everything properly. Yes, Dulce Maria. Yes, she's cool. But I was a big Anahi fan. Yeah, Anahi's really good looking, and she had that cool, like, quasi strip scene in the show that was fun. Nothing, like, inappropriate, but you know. She also had that like star on her forehead, which looked cool. So the key here is to get to one side. I remember there was an episode of Rebelde, and they were doing capoeira in the school, in like the front of the school. It's like this is just the best show. And after Rebelde, they had El Gordo y Flaca afterward. This, like, weird, like, kind of gossip talk show with a fat guy and a skinny older lady. Well, she was not old, but you could tell she was, like, middle-aged and still hanging up. Dulce is in 406. Cool. Interesting. Yeah, the thing about their American album that was kind of disappointing was I don't know, they had a different sound. They tried to like make it all R&B and stuff like that, and it's just like I don't know. I'm not a fan of that kind of music. I mean, I like Jodeci. That's like R&B music that I like, and in fact, Jodeci gets used in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which is awesome. In fact, I have a video on my channel with Trish to the song Fiendin'. I did a Trish fan art. The school uniform in Rebelde reminds me of... Yeah, that's why I watched it, because it reminded me of Japanese school uniforms. It reminded me of an anime, but with Mexican, you know, teenager 20-somethings, you know. I was an undergraduate in SUNY Cortland when Rebelde was on. I remember for one of my design classes, I did like an Anahi picture. Eddie! It's Carl Winslow's dark alter ego. Driven mad by Steve Urkel, he turns to a life of crime. Well, I accidentally chose Hager, but that's cool. Mike Hager in Final Fight 3. He's got like bicycle shorts and a ponytail. He's really got his finger on the pulse of Metro City's youth. I hate it when Eddie pulls out that stupid gun. Where you bloated, crooked cop. This game is less stressful when you have infinite continues. One thing I really didn't like about Street Fighter V is the fact that they made Abigail's head so ridiculously small. Like, on what plane of aesthetic logic is that a good idea? Let's take this Final Fight boss that everyone remembers and make his head incredibly small. Relento's level. Come on, Hager. Yeah, I mean, our Memorial Day was a little less social, obviously, because of the goings-on. In fact, we mostly did more Memorial Day celebrations over the weekend in terms of, like, kind of crazy, picnic food. Like, my wife made really good wings on Saturday. I've never actually seen anybody make chicken wings, but she found a way. Anahi is also in 406. Oh, awesome. Now I totally gotta watch it. So, are they, like, what are they? Are they, like, is this, like, in a school? Or are they, like, older? Or is this, like, Rebel Day, but they're the teachers? Like, what is the premise of this show? You've got me intrigued. I'm going to have to look it up on YouTube now. As soon as I suplex G. Oribur and Bill Bull here. Andore! And his future pro wrestling manager, Poison. It's Monday night, and I sadly have absolutely no desire to watch Monday Night Raw. Like... it's just so bad. Like, I can't freaking... Like, I mean, if you like it, that's awesome, I mean, I'm not, like, hating on the wrestlers or hating on the WWE fans, but I watch AEW religiously every week. And I can't deal with WWE. And to the point where, like, it annoys me to the point of not watching it. And I never thought I would be that way with pro wrestling, but it was just to the point where it's like, I'm just done, Like, I can't do this. I'll watch pay-per-views if my friends want to see them, but it was made before Rebel Day. Different story, more dramatic. Interesting. I know that there's like I think it's Portuguese. So I think there was like a Brazilian version of Rebel Day before the Mexican one. But I didn't know that Anahi and Dulce were in a show before Rebel Day. There's Rolento. Nice directorial style in this game here. I always loved how they were able to, use the... I mean, at the time, I don't know if they even thought of them as limits, because, this game, like, looked so good for the time when it was out, but, the fact that these types of graphics, these types of arcade boards, obviously had much more limits than what these consoles now that are seemingly producing these endless worlds can do. But the limitations are what made them be creative with camera angles, and that's why, and just visuals and gameplay, things. I mean, that's actually why I like Mad Max, the original Mad Max, better than Road Warrior and all the other ones afterward that got big budgets. I don't dislike those movies, but like the original Mad Max, I like the most because it's got these very tight, interesting camera angles. And the fact that it was like being filmed where you could still see some of society, really out of necessity, because they didn't have this big budget to make a sweeping post-nuclear landscape. I like it because you get to see, when there's limitations on things, you get to see the creativity of the artist more. You get to play with those limitations and push them. So that's one of the reasons why I like classic games, so to speak, a bit better. That's cool that Anahi and Dulce are friends in real life. I know that, didn't Dulce go out with Miguel? Weren't they like a couple in real life? And then they broke up, but they were still in RBD together. I actually had an RBD poster in my bachelor pad. Yeah. I remember, like, there's a really good authentic Mexican restaurant in Cortland called Garcia's, and they were actually playing RBD there, and I was, like, with my wife, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're playing RBD. I don't remember what song it was. I don't think it was the Isoy Rebelde. I think it was something else, but, yeah, no, you're making me want to go and start watching openings to Rebelde now, Diego. So Diego, are you from Mexico? I mean, I think I saw that you live in San Diego. I know Diego's obviously a Latino name, but you seem to definitely know a lot about the telenovelas. Yes, they went out and broke up. I see. Because I know Miguel went out with Anahi on the show. His name was Pancho. No, was it Paco? No, it wasn't Pancho. Because I remember they like wrote Pancho and it was like a joke or something. I can't remember his name on the show. But it was something like Paco or Pancho or something. I remember for one of my Latin American history classes, we were talking about like modern pop culture in Latin America, and I showed the Celestial music video from RBD where they're riding in the back of a car. I actually have that music video on a white Macintosh in my game room that is just loaded with J-pop music videos. I've got like a lot of TM Revolution, what else? Globe, I've got on there. I've got some Hideyaki Tokunaga. There's lots of good stuff. Move from Initial D, I've got on there. So that was like that actually was my computer when I was watching Rebelde. Yes, I'm Mexican American, but born and raised in San Diego. Cool. Are you first generation? Because I'm actually first generation Italian on my father's side, but he and my mom basically split when she was pregnant with me, because he's not a cool guy. I mean, a lot of my desire to be a good parent comes from his inability to parent. So Diego, what got you into anime? I mean, for me it was stumbling across Dragon Ball Z, and then it was the just memories of how cool the anime I saw in the 80s growing up looked. So, seeing Macross and Voltron, Go Lion. I didn't really watch a ton of it. Sailor Moon, too. I just thought it looked really cool. And I remember, watching Akira and thinking it looked really cool, but, it moving just a bit slow for me at the time when I was a kid. And it was just on in the background, and I thought it looked cool. And then I remember, back in 1997, 98, I stumbled across Fatal Fury the Motion Picture on the Sci-Fi Channel and sat and watched the whole thing and was really captivated by the art style. And then it was a couple years after, because I stumbled across Dragon Ball Z and Gundam Wing, and then after that, the rest, and the International Channel, and the rest was history after that. Yeah, no, I definitely... there's another telenovela that I used to watch called Alejandra that was out of Venezuela. and that was on International Channel, and I basically just watched it for the opening credits, which were really cool. It had, what's her name, like Maria Conchita Alonso or something. She was like in The Running Man, and she like hated Hugo Chavez. I remember, like that's pretty much like my knowledge of her. She was in The Running Man and hated Hugo Chavez, but she had a really cool novela. My dad is Mexican and my mom is from San Diego. Cool, yeah, I gotcha. That's awesome. How do you like San Diego? Do you go to any like Padres games or stuff like that? And how do you guys feel about the Chargers leaving? Come on. These graffito tagged bathroom stalls here. Ooh. It's always interesting, when you're growing up and you're a kid, and like there's like always multiple versions of like these single characters that you watch on your shows. Like my son now is like all into Geese Howard. In fact, he calls himself Geese, and I'm Rio, and his mom is Yuri, because we play a lot of Art of Fighting, and but he's like. There's like haircut geese and regular geese and dark cape geese. There's all these like different costumed versions of geese, have their own personas. And I say that because obviously in these beat 'em ups, like you get like these single type of characters here, and then like you get the palette swaps that are slightly different. And again, that's another thing where it's like, the limitations lead to charm. Because even though you're like, oh, well, how are there like a million of this one character? But it's like this one bad guy model has a lot of care put into his design, and therefore you start to gain an attachment to the character. Oh, fantastic! Bunch of fire wielding lunatics. What got me into anime, it's a pretty long story. Your grandpa is Japanese and from Japan and introduced me to Japanese culture. That is awesome, dude. That is super, 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 super cool. I would love to, go to Japan and have a direct relationship to someone that has access to to Japan. Whenever I was in college, I made friends with the Japanese exchange students, and I remember I'm still friends with one. We still chat on Facebook from time to time. Her name was Yumiko, and man, I did not know how to talk to girls when I was like in college, like at all. It was like really bad. Like I couldn't tell whether like we were on a date one time or not. But anyway. Like, she got me like a Shonen Jump from Japan, and she made me a really cool. She made me a really cool picture of Luffy. Actually, no, another girl gave me a picture of Luffy. Yumiko gave me a Rurouni Kenshin mixtape, and a Globe mixtape. It was great. So yeah, it was really, really cool stuff. And, she actually, I just talked to her not that long ago. She's back in Japan, and she just went to a Bees concert. And, yeah, so she's super cool. And then, like, there was another girl in a poli-sci class. Her name was, Saori, and, I would, like, ask her about, like, hey. Like, anytime I, like, would run into a Japanese girl, I'd, like, start talking about hey, Music Champ. And I actually remember once when I went to Binghamton, I was, like, there were some Korean, students, and I was talking about like HOT, and they're like, how do you know HOT? Because they're, now they're a pretty old group. They're about like a 20-year-old group, maybe a little more. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not like I like K-pop quite a bit, but I mean, I'm not like J-pop. I'm a huge connoisseur of J-pop. Like with K-pop, there's like a couple of groups that I like. Like I like HOT a lot. I like Kara, and then Big Bang is cool. But, J-pop is my soul. San Diego is a nice place to visit, but it's very expensive. I'm more of a fan of the Tokyo Giants and LA Dodgers. Cool! My son had he still does, he has a Jayabit rattle, and this lady from our church gave it to him. And I was like, holy crap, that's Jayabit from the Yomiuri Giants. And she's like, oh yeah, I have a friend from Japan, and I know you like Japan. And so yeah, actually for my son's first birthday card, I drew all the things that he liked, and one of them was Jayabit from the Giants. So I have a Yomiuri Giants hat. I have a Tokyo Giants hat. It just says Tokyo Giants on it. It's actually one of the most comfortable snapbacks I have. And my brother-in-law is actually a big fan of the San Francisco Giants. And I'm a big fan of the New York Mets. Like, the New York Mets are my favorite baseball team. They might be my favorite sports team. Very close to the Minnesota Vikings. And I'm a huge Minnesota Vikings fan. Which is a terrible thing to be because they always lose in heartbreaking fashion. But the important thing is they've been beating the New Orleans Saints recently, and the New Orleans Saints are my least favorite sports team in the history of anything because of Bounty Bowl. That Statue of Liberty means that Abigail's here. Oh look, Abigail doesn't have a crazy pinhead. He's proportionate to the rest of his body. Freaking Abigail. Move, he's gonna charge. Grab the Muramasa. You know what I was playing today, Diego? I was playing some Street Fighter Zero, or Street Fighter Alpha, and Santino is like obsessed with playing as Akuma on that game. So, thankfully, I was able to unlock Akuma on the 30th Anniversary Collection disc and just do a save state. Because those like 90s Street Fighter games, the hidden character, when you have to like start doing all these like weird things on the character select screen, that is always a pain. Getting Akuma in Children of the Atom is the biggest pain in the neck. You know, and like I've been doing it recently, but it's like you have to wait 3 seconds on all these characters and hit these buttons at the same time. It's like, dude, what the freak, man? So you're in the suburbs of San Diego. It's very boring. I don't want to live here. I want to move to Tokyo or Okinawa. Cool. Ah! Well, it's cool. So, does Tetsuya... You seem to be friends with Tetsuya. Is he living in San Diego, too? Because you guys seem to, know each other, and... you tend to both show up to the chats and things like that. Ah, crud. He's almost down. You can always tell when, like, I get serious playing video games because I take my hat off. Which you can't see, but I have done that. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think that the area I live in is boring, but, I mean, I like it. I think it's just a chill place to live. Well, Diego, thanks for stopping by. The few, the proud, the quality chat. Yeah, I always really appreciate the comments you leave on the videos. I definitely want to be doing some reviews as well. I've been having so much fun doing these live streams. And then I've been having all this issue with these hilarious celebrity scams that I've wanted to make videos about those. So the really funny thing was the other day, I talked about this in my video on the Big Show scam. I did another video on the fake Big Show. And so basically what happens is, and I didn't realize this, they basically get the real Big Show's verified account, make an almost identical page with an identical profile picture and only a slight variation in the name, and start commenting in the sections as if they're the actual Big Show. And if you don't look at the slight difference in the name, you don't actually realize it because the profile picture's identical. But, I kind of put them all on blast comedically, and they started, like, responding. Like, they got mad in that comment section. And then, like, the fake Big Show came back, and he's like, "That's right, man. It was really me." He had, like, all these friends of his, like, "Oh, no, that's real. The $200 you need is your sign-up fee for the Performance Center." It's like, "I read on the Big Show's blog he offered someone a shot at the WWE. Oh, man, WTF? Like, and they're like making all these like English as a second language mistakes. Like, how you think that not the Big Show? You mean, why do I think that's not the Big Show? Because you're all making the same grammatical mistakes and trying to get me to wire money to a Russian website. And there's nothing on the WWE's Performance Center. I don't know Tetsuya. I would love to meet him. He's a cool guy. Cool. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's I don't know. I only know you and Tetsuya through here, and I mean we're friends on social media too. I don't know if you're on Instagram or not, but you know, you can look me up on Instagram as well. I know we're Facebook buddies, and I always appreciate the. I like the stuff you post on Facebook too. It's really cool. Lots of cool, you know, Japanese TV shows and whatnot. Ah, we're getting to the top of the skyscraper. So, fun fact, I ordered... I thought I ordered not Final Fight. I thought I ordered Art of Fighting 2 because my son loves Art of Fighting 2, which is the hardest fighting game, like, ever. I mean, it's like a ridiculously difficult video game. And, I have figured out how to basically trick the AI to be able to beat the game, which actually is pretty noteworthy. I saw your video on the Big Show. Scary stuff of what it... Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. Oh, the Gina Lee Nolan thing, it was also fun. I actually got to talk to the real Gina Lee Nolan, actually not quite a few times, but like, we actually had a fairly lengthy Instagram chat, and both on her page and then through personal messages. So it's really cool to have Gina Lee Nolan from Baywatch actually personally messaging you when a fake Gina Lee Nolan from Baywatch is personally messaging you. Although the fake Gina Lee Nolan was clearly more interested in me than the real Gina Lee Nolan, so, you know, it is what it is. But, you know, like the fake Gina Lee Nolan's like, "Hi, honey, would you like to Google chat?" I'm like, sure. I need an adult. No, but yeah, so the real Gina Lee Nolan, actually, so I posted on her page, like, hey, you know, like, there's a fake Gina Lee Nolan here, like, we should make this a Baywatch storyline, and she thought that was funny, and then she actually messaged me, she's like, hey, what's this account, let me report it, and then she's like, well, no, actually, you report it, and so, you know, obviously I did, and, you know, we just chatted a little bit about it, and I talked to her about how I had the Baywatch soundtrack. Because, dude, you want to know a good song? David Hasselhoff's Current of Love. Like, I'm not kidding. I used to just straight up watch Baywatch, and, you know, I would just watch it for I would watch it for the stories and the girls and everything like that. But the thing I looked forward to the most was David Hasselhoff's Current of Love. Not on Instagram, not a problem. I'm not into Twitter, and a lot of people are, you know. Everyone's like, oh, you on Twitter? I'm like, nah, I'm just not into it, because I'm a visual person, and so that's why I like Instagram. Dude, I still have my MySpace page. So, you know, I actually used to write under a Japanese... When I was learning how to draw Japanese anime, like, my stuff under this name is not very good, artwork-wise. But, I mean, the passion is there. But I used to go under the name Kyo Koizumi. So I have a MySpace page under that name that I keep updated, actually, because I just like MySpace. You know, I mean, it's partly nostalgia, but I mean, it's one of those things where it's like I lost my password and wasn't on it for a few years, and then once I regained access to it, I'm like, oh, I want to keep this up to date, you know? I want to be one of those people to like say like, hey, I've still got my MySpace page going. I'm actually a big fan of the YouTuber Justin Wang. And he posts a lot about, and Wavy Web Surf, too. They post a lot about early 2000s media and things like MySpace and, you know, just like old early YouTube videos and things like that. So that really also got me thinking about MySpace again as well. But I actually, one of the main reason I got back into my MySpace was because I was applying for a job, which I got, thankfully. And I was just thinking to myself, like, you know, there's some embarrassing pictures on there, like nothing like super inappropriate, but just like crazy nerdy stupid, that it's like I kind of want to delete these because I don't want my employer or my you know, students seeing these things. Like, me photoshopping my head on Hulk Hogan's body. I'm like, I think there's a picture of like Hulk Hogan, in Lacey Von Erich, and like I comedically, like I wasn't like doing this seriously, like I photoshopped my head on Hulk Hogan's body while he was like hugging, like had his arm around Lacey Von Erich, and it's like I didn't want someone to see that and think, wow, this guy can't get a girlfriend, so he's photoshopping his head on like the bodies of people with girls in the picture. So I was like, I still have my MySpace, but I forgot my password. Everyone forgets their password. Dude, email them and they might get back to you. It took them like months to get back to me, but they actually did. MySpace is kind of weird now. It's like not the same. There's things about it that I like better, and there's other things that I don't. Like the wall system it's all like divided up into different sections now. But you can still have a cool wallpaper, but they call your wall your cover. But I don't know. It's like you can still like play music on your page and stuff. I have a lot of Pet Shop Boys music because they're one of the few groups that seems to actually allow their stuff on MySpace. Hey Dakota, what's going on? How's things in Cortland? Cortland's cool, man. We've been doing really well with this current quarantine situation. We've got about 5 people who are positive right now. We're still under lockdown, but stuff is slowly starting to open up. I'm just really, I've been really grateful that no one in my family's been sick, and I've just been loving life. Like, I'm with my son all day. My job is more relaxing. The weather's been beautiful recently. So my life is pretty much just, sitting on my porch, drinking coffee, playing with my cute kid. My wife is home, so she's like, baking all the time. So, I'm just, I've had more time to box too, which has been really fun. So, I've been trying to do, just boxing at least 5 days a week. So, there's only 5. It's going good. Yeah, right on, man. Yeah, Rogue Drums is a fellow Cortlandite. So. Rogue Drums, we are in the last level of Final Fight, the best side-scrolling beat-em-up ever, although there are other really good ones. And, we've just been kind of shooting the breeze, talking about Mexican telenovelas in San Diego and MySpace. I still have my MySpace page active, so, that's fun. And, so we've just been kind of chilling like villains, and here come the girls. So we are right about to go into where Belger is. Really showing that people in wheelchairs are not limited to their disability here. Can be in a wheelchair and a crazed supervillain at the same time. He's like Professor X if we took the wrong path. I almost forgot MySpace was a thing. Yeah, well, you would have been like really little when MySpace was a thing. MySpace was like a big thing back in the early, I would say 2004, 5 to 2009. I would say that was really MySpace's heyday. And I actually really liked MySpace, and that's why I still keep it going. My page still going. But partly because, I'm really, big into, continuity. I don't want to, give up things that I like, and MySpace is one of the things that I like. Plus, I just, now it's kind of oh, yeah, hey, don't give up that part of yourself. Remember the early 2000s? There was some cool stuff there, and MySpace was one of those things. But MySpace, it got to be really bad if you had dial-up like I did, because everyone wanted to put music on their MySpace pages. And, it just literally was taking forever for my friends' pages to load, but you could really customize your MySpace pages much better than anything on Facebook or Instagram or anything like that, So it was actually, much more, you had, a lot more freedom with MySpace. You were basically making your own website about yourself. Whereas, this newer stuff, it's all, very clean and streamlined. But you don't, get the same amount of self-expression in terms of the structure of your page. But the new MySpace, it's still cool, but, no one's on it. I mean, I'm literally the only person on MySpace. I think they literally have to, turn the website on, When when I fire up the machines, no one wants to log on. Because like literally the only people that are on there are like just like bots and things like that, so like the only friend requests you get on there are like, bot prostitutes, so you'd think having robot prostitutes harass you would be fun, but it's not as fun as it sounds. He was faking it. He's like Mr. Potter from It's a Wonderful Life. Wait a second, you're not even a cripple. Oh, we're gonna tag Guy in. Fun fact, Guy, the name of my late great barber grandfather. Yeah, I really wish he was still around, mainly because I feel like I've, really kind of become a pretty decent, cool guy, so, it would have been nice for him to see my son and, all the good stuff. But I'm sure he's looking down. I feel like my ability to shave my head properly comes from him. When the coronavirus is over, you should go to an awesome Japanese video game movies. I don't know if you ever saw this, Diego. There is a video on my channel of me going to a place called Robot City, which is in Binghamton, New York, which is the best arcade in New York State. And, it really has an amazing amount of video games that you can buy, vintage systems, and a really nice-sized arcade. And there is a video on my channel of me going there. Now, is that the same as me going to a book-off, in like a Chinatown or something like that? No, but which would be awesome to do. I'd love to. You know who has awesome book-off YouTube videos is Kids Show Ryuken. Yeah, that's really good stuff. So, yes, I would totally like to go to one of those. We beat the game. Oh, Father, I was so scared. I'm glad to see they didn't hurt you. I'm sorry, Jessica. I thought I'd lost you, like I lost your mother. I'll never let anything bad happen to you again. I love you, Father. And now, Cody and Guy heroically stride off through the levels that they walk through, beating up just wave after wave of cool 80s bad guy. It's going to be 90 tomorrow. I'm going to go tan more. Yeah, well, there you go. I'm Italian, but I'm not actually that tan. Like, I can get tan. Every once in a while, I'll kind of want to, enhance my tan and get some of those, bronzer things. And then it's like, they always end up getting on your clothes. It's Jessica. Where are you going? How can you just walk away now? I want to stay here with you, Jessica. But I can't. Not while evil still stalks the streets. Oh, Cody. The end. Powerful, powerful stuff here. We're going to put our initials in here. Can we put our initials in here? What am I doing wrong here? Whatever, it's all good. Okay, so that was Final Fight. Good stuff. I love Final Fight. My favorite game ever. Yeah, my girlfriend tans easy because she's Italian. Yes. Hang on. If you got an Italian girlfriend, hang on to her. And she seems like one of the non-psycho Italian girlfriends. So that's another win, That means she'll be likely affectionate and know how to cook and not stab you. Not that all Italian women stab people, but it's like 60-40, so, Cool. All right, so, what should we play next? We just beat Final Fight, which is awesome. I've got Snowboard Kids ready to go, but I kind of want to wait on that, just in case Tony shows up. If he doesn't show up, that's totally cool. We'll still play some Snowboard Kids. We could play some Mighty Final Fight, but maybe we should actually mix things up, and we should play some Garo, Mark of the Wolves. That might be a cool... I saw that video you went to. That's awesome place you went. I need to go there ASAP. Yeah, dude, I freaking love Robot City. That's where I got my 32X. It's good stuff. The other thing we got is in the bag. Tony's here. All right. So okay, we'll play some Snowboard Kids. I was like thinking we've got that arcade cabinet in the back, so we could actually play some Punisher. And I have not actually. That is a Capcom beat 'em up. I've never played. I've never really played much of the Punisher, and we could actually do a run on that game and beat it. But we'll play some Snowboard Kids, and then we might play some Punisher and some Garo, Mark of the Wolves. Tony, glad you're here. We just beat Final Fight. I'm drinking some coffee in a PlayStation cup. We've been discussing Mexican telenovelas, Italian women, J-pop music, and 90s beat 'em ups. It's been good. It's definitely been good. In arcades, all the arcade places in San Diego are sadly gone. How was your holiday? I'm sorry about that, Diego. It's been good, man. Like, I've basically just been playing video games with Santino. My wife made brownies, which is good. I unlocked Akuma on Street Fighter Alpha for Santino, which was a bit of a pain, but we did that. I was actually able to just use a save state at a certain point to keep him saved, so I didn't have to keep unlocking him. So that was good. Yeah, and then we watched some Peppa Pig. So my holiday has been very chill. Over the weekend, my wife made chicken wings too, so that was also good. So, yeah. And you know what else? We bought some generic peas at the grocery store. I took the label off. I could barely tell the difference. That's where this discussion is going, right? No, that's all. But yeah, so nothing major, but we've just been having fun and chillaxing, and it's been great. So how was your holiday? And anyone else's holiday? Diego's holiday was good. So hopefully everyone else's holiday on here has also been good. We are going to set up the. It's cool that you're Italian. I never met an Italian in my life. You are the first one. Well, I live in an Italian neighborhood, and Italians are cool. There's definitely the good ones and the bad ones, but like with any group. One thing about Italians is they can get too emotional and lose perspective. I think that is. If you're talking about, like, my people, I think that is something that Italians have a problem with, getting too emotional and losing perspective, and then having to backtrack and try to correct the mistakes that they make. I think that's something that Italians can work on. But I actually, I'm really active in a Italian-American church that I very much like. So it's good stuff. Yes. Okay, we're going to get some Snowboard Kids going here. On my RGB modded 64. My girlfriend gets pretty emotional. Yes. Yeah! Just stay cool. Keep her cool. It'll all be good. Alright, let's try to set this. Oh, dude, you know what else I did today? I ordered a HDMI to SCART converter. So I can play SCART games. Play HDMI games on my monitors here. Whoa. Sorry, guys. Trying to set this up here. All right. Snowboard Kids is a-coming. All right, let's try to fix this camera. There are no Italians here in San Diego, but we do have a Little Italy downtown in San Diego. There's actually a really good restaurant here in Cortland called Little Italy. It's a pizzeria. Actually, it's in Homer. It's in a neighboring area. Man, what's wrong? Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, guys. You know what I did that's making it so that camera's not working? I actually had that monitor on one of these things here, but it was actually a little too heavy for it. So I actually just moved it. So now our camera stand is too high for the camera. So what I'm going to do, Snowboard Kids is pretty rad. Use to rent it from Hollywood Video over and over. Dude, Hollywood Video was awesome. In fact, Tony, now that I've got you here, I want to show you some of the my anime VHS tapes that I got from a combination of Hollywood Video and Video Circus. So I'm pretty sure this one was from Video Circus, doing Megalopolis. This has got this is where they got the inspiration for M. Bison from. But yeah, Video Circus and Hollywood Video had a ton of good anime OVAs. Dominion Tank Police. This is really good if you like Masamune Shiro stuff. Everything here is Mexican. Cool. We have a great Mexican restaurant called Garcia's in Cortland. Dominion Tank Police, very cool. What else did I get from Hollywood? I can't remember if I got some Video Circus or Hollywood Video. This has got to be from Video Circus. This is must be 18. They used to put that on their stuff. Pat Labor. Dude, that cover is amazing. I know, right? I think I got this from Hollywood Video. It's Armor Trooper Votoms. This is one of my all-time favorite animes. Armor Trooper Votoms. It was on the International Channel. It's a Nietzschean space opera. Hollywood Video and Game Crazy. Yes, I had a really good friend that worked at Game Crazy, and we're still buds. Arcadia of My Youth. This is another good anime VHS tape. Yes, they were right next to each other. I actually got some pretty cool video games from Game Crazy. Yes, I love Italian women. They're so damn beautiful. Blade of Kamui. I know, I miss Game Crazy too. I actually got some Sega Saturn games there. It was really weird. And I got those Sega Saturn games there like in the mid-2000s. So it was like long after Sega Saturn was gone. If you haven't seen Blade of Kamui, you need to check it out. If you have Roku, you can get Retro Crush. That is a really cool streaming site, like a streaming network. So they have Blade of Kamui on there. So check that out. Here's another really good one. I think I did get this one from Hollywood Video. RG Veta, really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Oh, what else did I get from Hollywood Video? Here's a really weird one that I got from Hollywood Video. I actually want to review this. This is from the creator of Inuyasha and Ran Mahaf. It's from Miko Takahashi. It's a mermaid scar. This is dubbed in English, and it's really weird. It's about this like creepy kid who haunts people. It's been a long time since I've seen this, but I just remember this like creepy kid like, yes, you ate mermaid flesh, and then like that's like the thing I remember of that movie. What's your favorite Italian movie or TV show from Italy? Oh, that's a good question. Honestly, I think the stuff I like from Italy the most are the Italian dubs of Japanese anime openings. Like, I like the Japanese anime openings better, but Italy does a really good job doing openings to animes. Like, the Pink Jacket Lupin III had a really good opening scene in its Italian dub, so that was really good. The movie The Bicycle Thief is cool. That's a famous Italian movie. Oh, Black Cobra. That movie was made in Italy. That's like my favorite, one of my all-time favorite movies, with Fred the Hammer Williamson. Yeah, so that's like an Italian B movie that I really love is Black Cobra. So so that would be the Italian movie that I'm like most psyched about. And again, like the Italian openings to Japanese animes are really good. Was the zombie movies Italian? Yeah, there were definitely zombie movies that were Italian. There was some Italian horror movie that I was watching about rats, and they like were just like killing people. And I remember like it's a really like weird scene where like rats like crawled up this girl's leg and like they started coming out of her mouth. It was like really weird. But yeah, so good times, you know. We come from a proud people. My mom lived in Bologna, Italy, and that place was run by communists that operated within the framework of a European parliamentary democracy, and things actually worked really well for the most part. Italy actually had a pretty cool political balance in the mid to late 20th century because you had the communists on the left. You had the socialists who were left center, and then you had the Christian Democrats who were center. And with that combination, you were able to get workers a lot of rights, and also have balance in the political system that kept it within the framework of a parliamentary democracy, but gave people um, a lot of ways to express their opinions politically. Italian openings of anime are the best. I've seen some on YouTube. They're really good. They're really good. They're not as good as the Japanese ones, but they're darn good. All right, now we got a working camera angle here. Snowboard kids. I'm also tempted to play some Mortal Kombat Trilogy on the Nintendo 64. All right, we're gonna go to our options screen here. It has been a while since I played Snowboard Kids. Like, I don't even remember how to play this game. I just remember loving it when I played it. One player. Rumble pack detected. Start game. No. Yeah, okay. Select your character. Let's be Slash. How are the politics in Italy compared to the U.S.? I don't know what's going on there now. They had Berlusconi in there for a while, and he was kind of like a forerunner to Donald Trump. So this is, I'm going to tell you my take on what happened in Italy. Okay, so I described, I'm going to actually hit the lights before I do this because I want the camera to show up well on the monitor. Okay, so while I'm doing that, this is my take on the Italian politics here. In the mid-20th century to late 20th century, so they had the communists, the Christian Democrats, and the socialists. When the Soviet Union fell, that was the end of the communists. Then the Christian Democrats and socialists got embroiled in political scandals, and people lost faith in them. So then who ended up coming to fill the vacuum was a corrupt, boisterous businessman who was, kind of was sleazy, but he, had some appeal to the common person, Silvio Berlusconi. And, he basically was, kind of in and out of power based on how competent his competition was. And, in Italy, there is kind of this goofy group that's, doesn't like the southern part of Italy, because honestly, southern Italy, is kind of screwy, but they actually have a lot of really good things as well. But they're called the Lega Nord, and they don't have like a ton of support, but they're really stupid. They want to they want to separate the northern part of Italy from the southern part of Italy. I mean, there are definitely problems with southern Italian culture. Namely, like, just the ridiculous amount of cronyism, and also there can be a lot of wife beating. So, at least that's what I've seen from instances with my family, but that's not to say that the North is perfect either. They're just a bunch of I think they kind of fall into the aspect of being like, they have a lot of money, so they're like kind of dysfunctional in the kind of yuppie cosmopolitan way. So, is Italy corrupt like Mexico? I think every place is corrupt in their own way. I don't know anything uniquely about Mexican politics, other than the fact that there's just concern about border security, but I'm not really following what's going on in Mexico, although I should. This is you know what this game reminds me a lot of is the level, the snowboard racing in Final Fantasy VII. I'm not doing well at all. I love Snowboard Kids. It's kind of like Mario Kart snow. Yeah, it is. It's like Mario Kart. It's like it reminds me like Mario Kart and Cool Borders. Yeah, Mexico isn't perfect either. Yeah, no place is perfect, dude. I mean, I have family in Italy, and they seem like they're just amazing people. And, there's a lot of great things about Italy as well. I think parliamentary democracy allows there to be more representation for people's political perspectives. I think the two-party system in the United States is a big problem. Because you're very, very limited in terms of your ideological political persuasion, right? I mean, you can try to have someone like Bernie Sanders run or something like that, but he's ultimately always going to get crushed by the party because he's not a he's not someone who's paid his dues to the whole party culture and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, the best that can happen is one of the two parties kind of co-ops your ideas and distorts them to their benefit. So I don't think that's very good. The idea of a parliamentary system it can also be inefficient too, right? Because you're always trying to like cut deals with these different groups and things like that. So I mean, there's pros and cons to both things. But Italy, it also has just an amazingly beautiful historical culture. I mean, the artwork there is the best in history, I think. And it's also the, center of the Catholic Church, which, at least for me, is important. Although I think people in Europe are sadly, and part of it is historically the Catholic Church's fault as well for, allowing themselves to become a political institution before a religious institution for so many centuries. But it's basically the cradle of Catholicism and has the best artwork in the world. And there's definitely a better social safety net for workers there, in part because of that, that competition and rivalry and cooperation between the communists, the Christian Democrats, and the socialists. So, okay. Nick and I have been playing through the original Final Fantasy VII and just played the snowboard part. I know, it's awesome, right? Second disc. My aunt went to Italy last year and told me that reminded her of Mexico. What part of Italy did she go to? Because southern Italy was colonized by Spain for a long time. So there's definitely influence of, there's a lot of Spanish and Arabic influence in southern Italy, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. Yes, I love the snowboard level in Final Fantasy VII. It looks very cool. I love the polygonal graphics merged with chibi graphics. Alright, let's do another race here. I don't know how many races we'll do on this. We just did horrendous in that last race, but it's fun. Roma. So she went to Rome? Cool. My grandfather grew up in Chicano, which is close to Rome, and he saw Mussolini speak. I mean, he grew up in the 20s and 30s in Italy, and once he saw Mussolini starting to bring in Nazi diplomats, he knew that was a huge red flag, and my great-grandfather had come to Cortland ahead of time to find work. It was like one of those things where you have waves of immigrants who will come over, like the father will come first and send, save up money for the family to come, or come get money, send it back, kind of thing. And apparently my great-grandfather was kind of dragging his feet on getting my grandpa and my great-grandmother, but my grandpa was like 16 years old, and he wrote his dad, he's like, look, there's going to be a war here, Mussolini's bringing Nazis in, you got to get us the hell out of here. And he did. My grandpa actually, ended up meeting his father for the first time when he was around 17 years old. And he, ended up doing a lot of musician work. He was actually in a country music band. He was an Italian cowboy. He was a barber until the day he died. And he could play 4 different instruments by ear. So he was definitely a cool dude. This character reminds me of Goemon. I have Goemon 64 if you actually want to play it. I have the second Goemon game for the N64. And I actually have the Goemon game for Famicom, and I have the original Goemon arcade game on the PS4. I love Goemon. If you guys actually want to see Your grandfather saw Mussolini speak. That's amazing, even though Mussolini's a bad dictator. Yeah, Mussolini was a bad dictator, but compared to the dictators in Europe at the time, like, he was just a freaking doofus, man. Like, he's like a pro wrestler. He was like, he reminded me of like a bad guy pro wrestler with power that had horrible choice in friends. Like, compared to Stalin, like, actually, I think Italy's most interesting philosopher at that time was Antonio Gramsci, who was a Leninist, which is, that's fine. I mean, obviously, Lenin was into Jacobinism, which is horrendous, but, like, the Italian communists definitely saw things from afar and interpreted things in their own way and were naive, but also saw real merits in the Soviet system. And Gramsci was an incredibly smart person who died under Mussolini. But had Gramsci gone to Russia and lived under Stalin, he might have died earlier, So I don't know. It's definitely Mussolini was not as brutal as Hitler or Stalin, but he was a thug, you know. He drained the swamps, got rid of the malaria, so that was good. But dragged Italy into. He got Italy involved in World War II, and the whole idea of like Nietzschean fascist philosophy is just horrendous. And so that's why anytime I see like Nietzschean culture in the United States, it always bothers me because it reasons in terms of the will rather than in terms of transcendent truth. I know this is very dumb, but what's the difference between fascism and Nazism? Um, Nazism, it's not a dumb question at all. Nazism is a totalitarian German interpretation of fascism that was practiced by Adolf Hitler, who started the National Socialist slash Nazi Party, and it was very much. I mean, I'm not a huge expert on it, but there was a huge emphasis on German supremacy in terms of imperialism and genetics, and and this is from Nietzsche. Nietzsche saw Judaism and Christianity as really the roots of the problems of Europe. And so what Hitler did was he combined that aspect of Nietzsche with social Darwinism, which again everyone says like how wonderful science is. Well, the scientists back then were saying social Darwinism was good, so always take science with a grain of salt. And so the idea being that Germans were both culturally and genetically and politically superior to the world, and the real root of everyone's problems were Jewish people and their Judeo-Christian culture. Although Hitler like tolerated Christianity to a certain extent as long as it was subservient to him. But yeah, so I mean that led to things like the Holocaust and European mass murder through both extermination policies and imperialist policies, where Germany just wanted to start conquering other countries. But fascism itself, it's kind of like this. My interpretation of it, it's this kind of like ultra nationalist worldview that sees like your country as being better than other countries, but it's been wrongly denied because politics have been distorted and made subservient to inferior views. And it's kind of like your goal to help your country recapture its former glory and destroy the perspectives that are limiting your country's magnificent glory. And there's usually this idea that like your country is linked to some great mythical past. This all comes from Nietzsche, because Nietzsche's whole thing was like, well, Greece and Rome, they had the right ideas, but then the Christians came along with their, sniveling, weak worldview and ended up brainwashing the world through some tragic accident, and now the mighty can't actually take their place. So it's basically like that kind of idea. That's my interpretation of it anyway. There's a lot of people that like Nietzsche that don't think that way, and just like the fact how he analyzes and breaks down power and helps people be suspicious of people saying, oh, hey, this is true. Like, those are good things about Nietzsche, but there's a lot of crap about Nietzsche. And every time like someone's like, oh, well, his sister's the one that said the bad stuff, it's like, well, first of all, I don't buy all of that. And second of all, like, if that's true, she's just using her will to power, right? She's just using her force, her perspective to overcome other worldviews that she deems as weak and inefficient. And if she wins, she's the powerful one. So, hey, Tetsuya. I'm just rambling about how I don't like Nietzschean philosophy. So, although Armor Trooper Votoms has a very kind of positive spin on Nietzschean philosophy, so that's good. So, Tetsuya, we just played some Snowboard Kids and Final Fight. So, that's it's been fun thus far. What do you guys say we play some Punisher? I have a nice arcade cabinet here, and I've played a lot of X-Men Children of the Atom on it, and I have played a lot of Marvel superheroes on it, but the one game I haven't played on it is The Punisher, which is a rare Capcom beat-em-up that they actually put on this cabinet. And since the first game we played for the stream was Final Fight, I thought it would be cool to play another Capcom beat-em-up in the style of Final Fight. Now, we do have Mighty Final Fight for the Famicom, which would be fun to play as well. I actually do have a review of that on the channel. We've just been kind of like shooting the breeze. We looked at some anime VHS tapes here. Like I was saying, I started talking about a little bit about my family history. My grandpa grew up in fascist Italy, and that got me talking a bit about the philosopher Nietzsche, who a lot of fascists, I think, drew ideas from. But, in all fairness, I mean, I think it's a crappy philosophy, but I think that, any worldview, any belief system can be used for good or for bad, depending on the people interpreting it. So, there's that. What other game we might want to play, too? We're going to play The Punisher right now. But I should show you guys Daisuke Asakura's Media Romancer, since, we talk so much about J-pop. I literally have a video game that's just a weird fan disc of Daisuke Asakura. And, awesome. I can't see the very beginning. Can't wait to see the very beginning of this epic video. Hopefully everything works out. Like, something weird happened with the last video where I don't know if it all saved correctly. You should be able to see all of it on the YouTube channel, but there were some issues. So for example, when I tried to post it to Facebook, it wasn't posting right. That's way too high. All right, let's go back to the Neo Geo box. I'm sorry, guys. I should have measured my camera angles ahead of time. So, hopefully, Tetsuya, have you had a good Memorial Day? Tetsuya, are you in the United States? I know you have a Japanese name, which is cool, but I don't know if you're actually stateside or not, because here in the United States, we have Memorial Day, and that is when people traditionally, start the summer. All right. There we go. I'll hit the lights here. Turn the volume up a bit. See if we can move this in a bit. Beginning, yeah, I figured that's what you meant. All right, I have never played this game. I've heard amazing things about it. Patman QC has a great YouTube channel, and he did a great video about The Punisher. Alright. New York, a jungle of steel and concrete, where predators of all kinds, apparently, mercilessly do things. Here's Frank Castle, U.S. Marine. His family is unfortunately going to get taken out by these evil, evil people. On that day, Frank Castle died, and the Punisher was born. You're guilty of being dead. So we can be the Punisher or Nick Fury. Let's go with the Punisher here. Okay, I can already tell the gameplay to this is extremely smooth. Yeah, this game's already great. I played this game for 2 seconds, and that's all I need to know that I like it. I always like how in these games, you know, there's just always barrels lying around. What's going on back there? The Punisher! You can run, but you can't hide. I've heard this game is fairly violent. Like, I mean, like, you know, beat-em-ups are obviously inherently violent, but, you know, I've heard that there's, clearly some murder happening here. I mean, obviously they're trying to kill you, so it's all in self-defense. Oh, evil samurai! Nice friendly dog back there. You can pick up knives and throw them just like in Final Fight. That's cool. Now, the real question that's going to be begged here is, can Arcade 1-Up get the Konami beat-em-ups? You know, like, can they start getting... They've got Ninja Turtles, but can they get the X-Men and the Simpsons, you know? That would be huge. You're finished now, Bruno. So, now, I understand that this guy is not a good person, but, you know, they want to always, like, racially recast people in these, like, movies. Is there any way to get Suge Knight to play the Kingpin? Like, I'm serious here. Like, because he is the Kingpin. He is, like, the black Kingpin. So, I mean... that might be a good way to help him leave his life of crime, you know, just, like, have Suge Knight play the Kingpin. I mean, come on, you have to agree that's a good idea, people. Alright, so, I'm fighting a guy named Leon. Fun fact, that's my name backwards. Oh. I like how they give you CPR. Hopefully you guys can all see this okay. Which is fine if you guys don't want to comment. The last comment I saw was Tetsuya saying, beginning, I mean. I know in previous live streams we've had issues with comments being detected by me, so... you know, just letting you know, that's the last comment I see. If more are there and I'm not responding, I apologize. You know, I mean, like, the beat-em-up genre, you know, is kind of replaced more mainstreamly with the hack and slash genre. Wow, you got tough fast, yeah. I never realized about Leon and Noel. Yeah, that was the end of the stage. I don't know, I'm a fan of linear gameplay, so I always like beat-em-ups. Plus I like sprite-based graphics, like, tell me where your boss is. Please don't kill me. He's at Castle Panta Verde, Florida. Thanks and goodbye. Is he gonna kill him? Yep. There we go. Well, he is the Punisher. Yeah, this app thing you're using works perfectly. Good! Yeah, I like it. The only thing is like the last video, when I tried to post it to Facebook, it cut off the first part of it, and, like, I actually, apparently, like, YouTube saves the live streams, but this app actually lets you upload the live streams directly, so that's what I've been doing, but for the last live stream we did, it wasn't letting me upload it, so I just posted the one that YouTube saved, but it's not letting me, like, download the video, or if I try to share the link, it's missing the first hour of it. But I think if you just watch it directly on YouTube, it should be working well. if you are interested in checking out just old live streams. I just want to archive things. I want my channel to, you know, basically have a good record of all the things that I do that I'm, you know, comfortable preserving. This game has very expressive graphics. Yes, I'm Japanese and from Tokyo. Cool, man. Well, watch some M-Stay for me, man. Watch some Music Station. Dude, I miss watching Music Station terribly. I used to have TV Japan, but it just got a little too expensive. And the only thing I was watching on it was Music Station, and then I found these other things like Tokushotsu, which had Kamen Rider and Super Sentai. The other thing I would watch on TV Japan was I'd like watch One Piece and Kamen Rider, but I was able to get these other free anime streaming channels, so I basically just canceled TV Japan, and I miss Music Station like hell, man. I love Tamori. And I watch Gaijillionaire's YouTube channel, and he posts a lot about Japanese culture and things that I like, so. But I miss Music Station, man. I miss seeing Japanese commercials, too. Japan commercials are just hilarious. Because they're so over the top and cool. Alright, come on, you big mech thing, you. Dude, I love this game. This is a super chill game to play. Some of these arcade one-ups for the fighting games, like, I don't think you can't change the difficulty on them, which can be a little annoying, but since this has infinite continues, this is pretty chill. You know, I can just kind of like sit back and relax. Nice pick up and play. Very smooth gameplay, expressive sprite-based graphics. The music is cool as well. I've heard there were ports of this game on the Sega Genesis that weren't, you know, anywhere nearly as good as the arcade. Sega's usually pretty good with their arcade ports, but I just think the console ports in general were pretty poor. Again, check out Patman QC's video on the Punisher arcade game. He's super cool. He's got like no hands and he plays video games. I have no idea how he does that, like at all. He posted a video of him without hands bowling. I mean, that's freaking impressive, dude. Like I would hate, because I love to draw so much, you know, like I would hate to lose my hands, but the fact that he's still able to do what he loves without hands is pretty freaking impressive. Alright, we beat that android. Or guard droid, as he was called. And that's the end of stage 2. These arcade one-up cabinets are great. The one I have, the cabinet, it assembled fine, but there's just a little weird quirk where the bottom of it, like, locked a little, not totally at the bottom, and so there's the part of it that says Marvel and Capcom at the top is covered by another part of the cabinet, but it still looks like a totally normal arcade cabinet. It's just a little weird quirk to it. Yes, Tamori is the best. Japan TV, Fuji TV, NHK are the best. You should live in Japan. I would love to live in Japan. I am going to enter the silent manga contest that is put on by the mangakas from City Hunter and Hokuto no Ken. And if I win, I get published in a Japanese manga. So we'll see how that goes. The only thing that's a bit annoying is Japan doesn't seem to have fair use for YouTube. So a lot of good stuff gets taken down off YouTube for, you know, no good reason. But my Hitomi video is fine, which is good. Where she's performing on Hey Hey Hey. Yeah, dude, I love Fuji TV. I want to get the Fuji TV All Night Nippon Super Mario Brothers for my Famicom disc system, but my disc system is broken. The rubber band in it broke, like they always do. You know, everyone told me the rubber band in that thing is gonna go, and sure enough, it did. but I'm sure I can find a cartridge version of it, like, you know, gray market off Etsy. You know what would be a fun game to play after this is, since we're playing these beat 'em ups, we can play Kunio-kun, play some River City Ransom. This game is great, man. I really, like... Guys, if you have $300 to spend, get this arcade cabinet. Or just download it off of MAME, you know, whatever works for you, but... Super fun game. Enter the contest. I'm gonna do it. I actually just got a new notepad. Thank you for your encouragement. Tony, you were saying you were having like ginger ale and rum the other day. That sounds amazing. It's super hot in Portland right now, actually. This is like our first stretch of summer weather. So, like, we're running the... thankfully, my house has an air conditioner. I grew up for decades without an air conditioner. And now this is, like, my second year in this house with, like, central air. And I'm like, man, I'm going soft. I used to, like, sweat off my Christmas weight, you know? Now it's like, you know... Now I can... I'm drinking hot beverages, like, all the time, because I'm so comfortable in this house. I've switched to drinking decaf coffee, so that makes me less jittery, so... Oh, dude, guys, you know what else? You're talking about, like, restaurants in Portland? Coffee Mania is, like, literally one of the best coffee places you can go. It's a drive-through coffee kiosk, and they have just really, really good coffee. And, like, frozen coffee drinks. They have this thing called a granita. It's amazing. It's like drinking an iced liquefied candy bar. And a mocha at the same time. Like, we got a Starbucks in Portland. Everyone's afraid of, like, Coffee Mania, like, getting hurt by Starbucks. But, like, Starbucks can't even freaking hang with Coffee Mania. It's so good. Yeah, today I got way too much sun and my brain is super fried. It's hot today. I mean, I always like these days when it like starts turning into summer, because it's always like, you know, people are wearing summer clothes. You start blaring rap music outside. Everyone's just happy and chill, you know. So that's fun. But honestly, guys, like, you know, since I've been doing the combat sport training, I mean, I've been eating more too, because like the exercise makes you hungry. So it's like, obviously, like, my midsection is not quite as trim as it once was. I'm sporting a little bit of dad bod here. But my shoulders have gotten bigger, and my freaking Adam Levine Hawaiian shirts are not fitting as comfortably as they used to. And like, I bring that up because, like, that's my, like, go-to summer attire, is my cool Adam Levine Hawaiian shirts, and they're too tight in the back, you know. But nevertheless, I'll still rock them with pride. I love Starbucks. Starbucks is cool. The best thing about Daily Motion is, unlike YouTube, they never delete videos. Daily Motion seems pretty cool. I found some pretty cool stuff on Daily Motion. I mean, honestly, if YouTube keeps screwing around the way that they're doing, they're gonna end up being like MySpace, you know, and I'm sure they think that they've, like, you know, they figured out plans so that won't happen, but I'm telling you right now, MySpace started lowering the quality of their site and their service, and then, you know, another site came around and gave people something better. You know, like, for example, like Facebook. Like, I started using Facebook more than MySpace because it loaded faster and it had less spam, you know? And that was it, you know? And even though you could customize your MySpace page, which was awesome, you know, like, I could actually see my friends' pages more quickly because they didn't take forever to load, you know, on Facebook, so... So if YouTube is, like, gonna start being stupid and, you know, like, making the site harder to use and harder for content creators, and taking down content that shouldn't be taken down. They're gonna end up getting surpassed by another site. I really like Starbucks too. One thing I like that Starbucks has is their macchiatos. Like their iced macchiatos are great. Coffee Mania, for as good as it is, they don't make those, so whenever I go to Starbucks, I always get an iced macchiato, and it's always it's great, man. Stage 3 is clear. I really like the actor they had playing the Punisher on Netflix. I don't know, man. Like, I've been watching a lot of the Quartering's YouTube channel. That's one of the things that I'll watch to relax, after Santino gets put to bed. And it seems that Marvel Comics is just putting out some really crappy stuff. The only problem is that other video services are slow. It's tough to be a competitor to YouTube. I agree, man. I'm not saying, like, I'm saying it could happen if YouTube isn't careful. I'm not saying that it will happen, like, immediately, but I'm just saying, like, if some... the other thing is that, people have sunk so much of their time and energy into YouTube. Like, switching platforms is not going to be fun or easy. Like, I have a ton of videos that I've uploaded on YouTube since I've gotten, more serious about it. And, like, YouTube to me is a hobby. Like, I had the YouTube channel for a while and didn't do much with it. And then for whatever reason, I think it was really once Santino was born, and I was really just kind of increasingly annoyed with all of the political BS. Like, I wanted just to do something fun and relaxing. So I started doing YouTube videos, and they started to get some likes. Caramel Frappuccino, that also sounds amazing. I started to do these, like, video game reviews increasingly, and I wanted to, like, kind of share my views on philosophy. So, like, I, just sunk a lot of time and energy into YouTube. And so, like, I don't want to leave the platform. I don't want to get kicked out of the platform. But if the platform doesn't fix itself, it's gonna, it's gonna be like, for example, there's no reason why I can't be live streaming to YouTube. I mean, this Prism app is great. Like, I'd probably just use this regardless because of how good it is. But the fact that they make it harder for people to live stream if they don't have, like, 1,000 subs is ridiculous, and the fact that it seems like their search algorithms are designed to prioritize people who already have a lot of results, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's harder for smaller channels to get traction because it seems like the bigger channels are always prioritized. I remember the first vid with Santino. Yeah. Yeah, he's such a little cutie. He's still a cutie. I'll tell you, being a father, it's insane. It's awesome. I mean it in a good way. It's like your whole mind changes in an instant. Your whole life, it's always about, like, you view yourself as the center of things, and now you're no longer the center of things, but it's a very good thing to see that you've made something so beautiful. How do I... Come on. I'm trying to go, man. These guys are in my way. I look back on the 90s and, I really feel like more people should have worn bicycle shorts. They're wearing them in this game. I wish I saw more people in bicycle shorts and bandanas when I walked around in 1995. Not for any reason other than the fact that I just enjoy the styles of these villains, I'm not trying to be weird. Well, I'm trying to be comedically weird. Wow, Gus just knocked me down, but luckily my chubby friend is here to give me CPR. And there is a yummy pot roast in that barrel. You know what game they need to do an arcade one-up of is the original Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. That will probably never happen, because they can't freaking release Sonic the Hedgehog 3 anymore because of all the Michael Jackson music in it, but, that would be a great game to play. That is a lost arcade classic. The Sega Genesis version of it is great, but the arcade version is so unique, you know, like, it's a completely different game, and the only way you can really play it is through MAME. Welcome, Punisher. Wow, this guy's like Yuppie Barrett. No, he doesn't have a real gun arm. Where is he pulling that gun out of? Oh, it's in his back. It's like the Highlander. Like, did you guys ever notice in the Highlander TV series, people would wear form-fitting clothes and pull swords out of nowhere? Having a wife and child is a beautiful thing, but hard to handle. That is an understatement. Yeah, no, it is. I mean, it helps to have a wife who is understanding for sure. And okay, this is a difficult thing about having a child. My day is so happily devoted to him that if I want to have some time to myself, I feel like I have to stay up late, and then he gets up early in the morning, so I feel like I just don't get enough sleep, because I want to have some time to chill, you know, in my game room and, you know, watch, you know, just 80s stuff and play video games and listen to music or whatever, you know, what YouTube videos, just kind of do my thing. And then, you know, before I know it, it's like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and Santino's going to get up at 7 at the latest, you know, so. Sadly, I'm not married and don't have any children. That's not a bad thing, just, you know, I mean, I certainly wasn't planning on it. It just all kind of happened, but it happened in a good way, so. I mean, being single is also super fun, so just do it responsibly. I mean, the amount of freedom you have is great, just to kind of chill and do your own thing. But it's definitely a good thing to have a good companion. And having a son is just amazing. Like, Santino now just calls me Rio all the time, and he's Geese, so. And, like, our whole life is just this merger of Peppa Pig and Street Fighter and SNK, which is great, so. Peppa Pig is legitimately funny. Like, they put a lot of funny humor in Peppa Pig, and it's not, like, perverted and weird. It's just warped. Like, you know, they talk about Mr. Potato, like, always dodging the question if he ever ate another potato, which I find funny. Speaking of Goemon, by the way, did you see that the NES version got a fan translation to English? I did not. I need to check that out on Etsy. Etsy is where I get a lot of my, it's where I get all my fan translation carts. Being single is great, but deep down I want to start a family one day. Yeah, same. No, I mean, it was the same way. It'll happen. It's the Kingpin. The Punisher has caused me enough damage. Find where he's hiding and bring me his head. Someone's here already. I finally found you, Punisher. Now I'll have your head. Okay, but seriously, can we do a movie where Suge Knight is the Kingpin and Brock Lesnar is Venom? Please! Like, someone out there has to think that that's a good idea. These are the real-life versions of those people. You know who, like, would look the part of Magneto but wouldn't be good to play him is the Nature Boy Ric Flair. They both have those, like, big white afro mullet things. No, being single can be a lot of fun, you know, just... You get to meet a lot of different types of girls and just have fun being out there with your friends, you know. The not fun part about being single is meeting people who aren't always of the best quality when they interact with you. But, you know, I mean, we all have to do our part to be the best people we can be as well, so... It always takes two to tango. Whoa, looks like I'm a bit late. Arrow, no worries. We've just been chilling, chillaxing here. We're playing some Punisher. We played some Final Fight. We beat some Final Fight on the Xbox 360. Then we did a couple races on Snowboard Kids. And now we are playing the Punisher on this arcade 1-up cabinet here. From the fine people at Capcom. It is a very, very smooth playing, beautifully drawn, sprite-based, side-scrolling beat-em-up. Ric Flair as Magneto and Brock Lesnar as Venom. Please, Hollywood, make it happen. Yeah, no, I'm serious. Like that. Like, Ric Flair looks like Magneto should look. Like, Ian McClellan, or whatever his name is, like, I hated him as Magneto. The guy in the First Class movies is pretty decent. But, dude, like, Suge Knight from Death Row Records is a black version of the Kingpin. He's a giant, bald, buff, ruthless, like, guy. Like, so, okay, like, I mean, if they're gonna, like, not gender swap, if they're gonna, like, racially change Nick Fury, which I'm fine with, then you can do that with the Kingpin. They already did that in the Daredevil movie. They had a black Kingpin. So, okay, have Suge Knight be the Kingpin, have Brock Lesnar be Venom. Brock Lesnar has to be Venom. His name is Brock. He's got the same freaking haircut. He's a big, jacked, doofy, you know, guy with an edge. Like, and, yeah, I would take Ric Flair as Magneto because they both, like, he's older, but he's in shape. He's got that kind of similar hairstyle. Why was I made to feel pain? I'm very good friends with the owners of a comic book shop, and, you know, one of the things about comic books that I see now is that, like, they just don't look and feel enough like comic books. It's getting better, but, it just seems to me like a lot of the art school crowd has taken over the comic book industry, and their way of drawing and their way of seeing politics and their way of seeing characters is, I think, not conducive to maintaining what people really appreciate about comic books, which is the bold visuals, the bold archetypes, the masculine fantasy. Definitely you want to have range to your story and, reach a wide audience, but at the same time, you don't want to get so far away from, a lot of the art school crowd have taken over creative mediums as a whole. Yeah, it's sad, man. Like, I took a lot of art classes at Cortland State. Cortland State is a very chill college. It's a party school if you want it to be a party school, and it's a place where you can get a good education if you want to get a good education. That's really what it is. So, like, the crowd at Cortland State is pretty chill, but definitely there were some people in my art classes that had that kind of pushy vibe to them, and, you can definitely see it present in, increasingly in things like comic books. Like, I follow people like Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld on Instagram, and like every once in a while I'll see them do stuff and I pick it up immediately because they have that style that I love. Man, I'd usually have something to say, but I'm a bit tired to give a good response. Everyone's tired, man. It's been a long day. I don't know what the weather's like where you are, Arrow, but up in Portland here, it's we're having our first real bout of hot, humid weather. So you know, everyone's just, I think, a bit tired from all the heat. Hopefully this arcade cabinet's showing up decently on the phone. I'm trying to check back and forth, and you know, I see the contrast can be a bit high on it, but you know, hopefully it's all I'm in New Jersey. It's been the same here too. Cool. We get a ton of people from New Jersey because of Portland State. So a lot of people from Queens, a lot of people from New Jersey, a lot of people from Long Island. They all come up for our college. Which is cool. I mean, you know, you can definitely tell the people from Long Island because they definitely have a lot of style. Sometimes they can be a bit too much like the Jersey Shore, but sometimes they can also be really cool too. I'll be here. It'll be in the low 80s later this week. Yeah, it's definitely it's like in the muggy 70s up here. This girl looks like she's a more modest version of one of the characters from Wicked City here. Target confirmed. Terminate immediately. This game isn't that violent. People have made this game sound like, oh, it's so gory. It's like, it's really not. I mean, he's like got a gun, but you know. I mean, it's maintaining the violent comic book story. I mean, the Punisher is a vigilante assassin, you know, who's killing other, you know, murderous criminals. Hence the name The Punisher. You can always put more layers on, but you can only take off so many. Yeah, that's what the cops told me. Sir, please, this is a public area. Nobody wants to see that. Well, that's not what the voices in my head told me. Man, friggin' Kingpin, he really has a nice cybernetics department here. I used to watch the Spider-Man Saturday morning cartoon in the 90s. Kingpin had a kind of a weird voice in that. He's like, Alistair, fetch me my ascot. I'm the Kingpin. That's actually nothing like what he sounded like, but he had a little bit of a lispy, mild British accent. Gotta say, I'm more fond of the cold. Yes, as I was saying the other day, I like the Christmas time, but there is always something nice of just seeing, you know, seeing people in their summer attire, you know, with just like playing summer tunes, driving around with the top down, windows down, letting the wind blow through your, you know, well, I don't have hair, but through your wonderfully aerodynamic head. You know, not through your aerodynamic head, across your aerodynamic head. If it was, you know, blowing through it, there'd be some kind of horrible tornado scenario happening that, you know. Or like that cat in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure that can shoot air bullets. And so Kira had to basically hide him in his attic. Yeah, you don't want that either. You don't want, like, ghost cats shooting air bullets at you. Because then the air really will blow through your head. Alright, where am I going here? Kingpin, your luck has finally run out. Ooh, it's the last stage. Wow, we will have beaten 2 games here. It ends for you tonight, Kingpin, I swear it. Yeah, the difficulty on, X-Men Children of the Atom on this arcade cabinet, it's, you know, it's definitely... It's a harder play than on the Sega Saturn, but it's definitely not impossible to play. But it would be nice if you could access the dip switches to these games here. You can't pause them, which I understand. I mean, it's part of the arcade experience. You can't pause a game. But when you have a 3-year-old, it's a bit of an issue. Has anyone here ever played Kizuna Encounter? It's a SNK fighting game. And it's a tag fighting game. Its original game was called Savage Rain. And Kizuna Encounter is much better. The color palettes matches better. The colors kind of clash in Savage Rain. And the English translation in Savage Rain is really, really weird. It's like got a lot of bad puns. You know. But some of these characters look like Kizuna Encounter characters. Like that one guy with the flamethrower here looks a lot like the Joker character in Kizuna Encounter Savage Rain. He's basically like a clown with striped pants. I'm gonna keep the flamethrower and forego the lance. Kingpin has got some stylish henchmen here. This is like a very special episode of Beverly Hills 90210. A lot of what people do, if the translation is really bad, is the retranslation of the entire game by fans. Yeah, they should do that with Savage Rain, because it's really weird. I can show you that game. The translation on it is just awkward as hell. Nothing is worse than the translation of Castle Shikigami. That game was just gibberish. Like, I mean, I don't mind it, but it makes no sense. It's just English words. Like, the game is just English words that make no sense. If they were to come out there... I'm sorry. There were some out there that really didn't like the localization of Final Fantasy VII and spent years reinterpreting the game. I actually liked the translation of Final Fantasy VII. I actually kind of like the translation of Final Fantasy VII better than the translation of Final Fantasy VIII and IX. Mainly just because it felt more... It felt a little more... unfiltered, I guess is the word I'll use. But it's all good. I mean, as long as they keep Barrett swearing incoherently, I'm happy with that. Because Barrett is just the coolest freaking character. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You know, Mr. T with a gun arm is incredibly hard to top. In fact, one of the reasons I kind of want this, I'm probably going to have this not go, like, we've been doing like 3-hour live streams, which is, like, I've been loving these things, but I don't know if I'm going to do, like, as long a live stream as that, mainly because I do want to get a little bit of alone time with Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I mean, I would play it with you guys, but I just don't want to, like, an RPG like that, like, you kind of want to give it your undivided attention. Something a little more chill, you know, like a fighting game or beat 'em up, you know, it's really easy for me to glance back at the screen. Sorry that I'm looking at the screen here, I can see that there's a lot of heavy contrast on some of these characters here, so... I think people are more than willing to just watch you play the game. Interaction is nice, but you don't need to push yourself to do it. I like talking, though. It's all good. I mean, I don't watch a ton of Let's Plays, but the ones I do watch, they're always... I mean, I'm a very talkative person. In the Let's Plays I watch, the people tend to be more talkative. I mean, if I was gonna do a Let's Play like that, then I might actually try to, like, look into getting a capture card or something, but... I don't know. I mean, there is also a certain charm in just filming the screens. But for something like this, you know, not everyone has the game themselves. A lot of people like myself don't even have a PS4 opportunity to play it. Oh, no, I hear you, man. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, no, I hear you. No, I mean, you know, if you guys are down for that, I mean, I'm willing to just kind of, although, I mean, I'm willing to just kind of, you know, do a Let's Play of Final Fantasy VII Remake, but at the same time, like, I'm just gonna end up talking, like, I'm just too chatty, you know? So I appreciate the, like, don't push yourself thing, but at the same time, it's like, it's just natural for me to just kind of go on. See, I imagine the transition to Senile Hobo for me will be very smooth. Wait a second, what's the government doing to your thoughts, sir? Who stole your eyeballs? Martha Stewart. I gotta tell you, I am such a fan of the character designs thus far that I've seen in the Final Fantasy VII Remake. So, Arrow, what consoles do you have if you don't have a PS4? I have to go. Good night, Noel. Thank you for stopping by, my friend. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your presence, your comments. Once again, I'm sorry for the high contrast on the Punisher here. There's no way for me to adjust the brightness on this arcade cabinet. Because, I mean, me looking at it, it's a perfect picture. But in terms of it getting along with the phone, it is a little rough. The other thing about doing live Let's Plays of RPGs, though, is I've got that kind of personality where, you know, once I get into something, I'm, like, really into it. I've relied on PC for years. The last console I bought was a PS3. PS3 was a really good console. That console is versatile as hell, too, for its connections. I would get a PS4, though. I mean, there's definitely a lot of good games you can get, both digitally and in terms of hardware. So, not hardware, software. But I mean, do your thing, man. I have a friend. He's got a PS4, but he's huge into, like, World of Warcraft and Steam. So, you know, I try not to burden my parents with too much, so I've made do with what I've got. That's a really good perspective to have, dude. I've got, you know, I know of people that are just, like, you know, very, very entitled, and that's a really humble, good attitude to have. It's all over, Kingpin, you're through. Okay. Let's fight! Oh, he, like, blows his cigar at you. PS4 has a lot of games, but there are a lot of stuff on there that I can find out. Yeah, it's true. I mean, I basically buy stuff for my Xbox One just to have stuff on that Xbox One. I mean, if I like was really just had to buy some, if I really only had to have one next gen console, it would probably, or this current gen console, it would probably be PS4, just because I think you get the most coverage of different kinds of games on it. But the Wii is, or not the Wii, the Switch is really good. They've got some really unique games on the Switch as well. But I don't know. I like my Xbox One as well. The Xbox One has got a lot of. It's got a nice picture. They've got some really interesting Japanese games in the store. But yeah, it sells like crap in Japan. But they gotta give it to Microsoft for trying, you know. So it looks like the key to beating the Kingpin here is to throw him. He's like Katana. Got a ton of health. You said we. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I tend to misspeak. Although I like the Wii. I mean, like, the Wii, the best game I've got on the Wii is Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. Punch-Out on it is cool, and then I've got a bunch of old games downloaded onto it that are cool. But the Wii is definitely, it's a fun console, but it's definitely a console, I think, aimed not so much at gamers, but more at, like, casual, you know, just kind of casual people who are like, ooh, a video game. This is interesting, you know. But, I mean, it's all good, you know, I'm not hating on it. I mean, but for me, the best thing about the Wii is the fact that you can either fill it with ROMs, which is of, you know, questionable. I mean, I don't think it's ethically wrong, but I mean, Nintendo might, like, you know, try to screw with your system, you know, because it's technically, you know, it's arguably technically illegal, you know. But the other thing too is, like, the Wii store had a lot of really good retro games. Like, I have the actual Street Fighter 1 on Turbo CD, but I don't have a Turbo CD, so I have it on the Wii. So for that kind of thing, like, Wii's great. But I'm a kind of person that, like, I like to collect the actual. I like to collect physical media too. So, although I gotta tell you, I've been downloading a lot of stuff on my Xbox and on my Switch, and I really, the amount of stuff you can find and just kind of get immediately is great. Man, Kingpin is tough. I mean, he's definitely. All you gotta do is throw him, but he's just got a ton of health, man. If I can get this gun here. Come on, Punisher. Totally, there's not a lot of... They're not optimal, but I think for the sake of preservation, they're probably the best to go for. If I weren't for ROMs, there'd be so many games left in this. No, I agree, man. Absolutely. Freaking Pat the NES Punk, he, like, just uploaded a video. It's like, is emulation a dirty word for game fans? It's like, emulation has never been a dirty word for game fans. Like, Pat the NES Punk, like, he's a knowledgeable enough, interesting person, but he's, like, way too sensitive and way too uptight about, like, he's got this elitist attitude about certain things. And he's like, oh, that's, like, intellectual theft. It's like, look, that game is never going to be resold, okay? You know? Like, if I'm playing a ROM of the Sega Genesis Sailor Moon dubbed into English, that game is never going to come back. Like, if that, it'd be awesome if it did, but, you know, ROMs are the things that actually get people to be able to play games that were not translated in the first place, you know? I got him. Alright, we beat the Kingpin. Last stage clear. Like, there was some video of Pat the NES Punk complaining about somebody selling a Final Fantasy II on eBay and it being graded in a very high condition. It's like, I mean, whatever, man, you know. You can have a really nice ROM. You could have a really nice fan cart, you know. Home, you know. Oh no, the building's exploding. We have to get out of here. Yes, Nick Fury, let's go. What's your favorite Sailor Moon character and why? Sailor Venus, because I think she's good looking and I like Sailor V. I think Tuxedo Mask is super cool. But Sailor Venus, I like Sailor Mars too. Something about the dark, mysterious brunette, but I like the blonde superhero girl. As Kingpin faces final defeat at the Punisher's hands, Kingpin's building and its support structure. This is going too fast. I can't. With this defeat, the Kingpin's building collapses and begins to disintegrate. But the Punisher, while the battle has been won, this is all just going very fast. Basically, the Kingpin's building has collapsed. And the Punisher is a dark, brooding hero who will continue to be tortured by his past, but at the same time will continue to fight for justice. The next morning, the police searched through the rubble of the King building and found over 292 ex-criminals, but they could not find the Kingpin. The Punisher team all Oh, cool! So this is the credits here. Very cool. Oh, Akiman did the game design on this. Akiman is a great artist. Akira Yatsuda, I believe is his name. He's got some nice music. There was only one way to play Seiken Densetsu 3 for years. The re-release and remake, it'd never be imaginable to play legally otherwise. Yeah, no, I agree, man. I have several really cool repro carts of games that were never translated into English, like Radical Dreamers, which is the original sequel to Chrono Trigger. I have that in English on a Super Nintendo cartridge. I have Metal Slayer Glory on the Famicom. That was never translated into English. I have Final Fantasy III on the Famicom that was never translated into English. I have Final Fantasy II on the Famicom that was never translated into English. So, like, people don't just buy these. People buy these games because they're fans and they want to be able to play things that were never translated into English. That was a great game. My name is Alright, gang. Why don't we, if you guys are down for one more game, I think we'll do one more game. You guys down for one more game, or should we wrap it up? I was thinking it might be fun to actually play a little bit of Mortal Kombat Trilogy on the Nintendo 64, since we already have the Nintendo 64 hooked up. And, this is one of the few fighting games that are actually on the Nintendo 64. The Nintendo 64, one more. Okay, we'll play with some Trilogy. The Nintendo 64, it's definitely noted for its, really good 3D graphics, but this is, I think, a really nice 2D fighting game. Think most people here are more than willing to stay up to you. Yes, okay. Alright, well, we'll just see where it goes. We'll play some Mortal Kombat, and, we'll, and a good time will be had by all. Where'd my coffee go? Yeah, my coffee is literally on this pile of VHS tapes here. So, there we go. Let's, not let this fall. So, good stuff. It's decaf, though, so it shouldn't be too bad. You know what would be a good game we should play sometime is Cutie Suzuki's The Ringside Angel, which I actually have the box hanging up here. Although you do know what game... we're going to play Mortal Kombat Trilogy, but I've got Splatterhouse on the PC Engine Mini, and that is a game that I've been wanting to really dive into, and I have not really gotten to do much with. Coffee at night. Yeah, I'm a bit of a drinker of coffee. I mean, it's decaf too, so never mind, I said it was decaf. We'll play some Mortal Kombat Trilogy. We'll probably do. You want me to do Splatterhouse instead? All right, we'll do Splatterhouse. All right. Um, we'll do Trilogy another time. That's a more common game, Mortal Kombat Trilogy. Splatterhouse is that's a game I've really not played much of. So we'll set up our camera. We'll get the PC Engine Mini going. We're gonna play this game in Japanese, so it's got all the you know, uh, unedited content basically. I think in the American one, because of copyright issues, they made it so that the character wasn't wearing Jason's mask, and I think they got rid of some of the gore and whatnot. So, yeah. So we're gonna be as authentic as possible here with the artist's vision. All right, I think for this we will use our donut bench for our stand. If you guys have not seen Splatterhouse's PC Engine commercial, you need to look it up because it's fantastic. It's this like creepy Western. It's like this creepy American girl in a mansion, and she basically is like, "Welcome to Splatterhouse," and then it like shows clips of the game. And it's got this like really like melodic, eerie synthesizer music playing in the background while it's showing the gameplay, and then it cuts back to the girl like kind of like running around. It's like a really good commercial. So definitely check that out. So we have the PC Engine hooked into our gateway CRT monitor here. And I think the PC Engine is actually hooked up. Maybe I'm wrong, though. No, I think I had the PSP hooked up, or did I have the PC Engine hooked up? Nope. I had the PSP hooked up. Okay. We'll unplug you, and we will plug in you. Yeah, I can hear it coming on. All right. Alright, I'm going to turn the volume up a bit. Oh, guys, like, the PC Engine Mini is freaking amazing. Like, I highly recommend getting this game. Getting this console here. Star Parodier is a fantastic game as well. I don't know if Tony is still watching, but they have the Japanese version of Snatcher on the PC Engine Mini as well. And so that's another reason to get this. Dracula X is great. Tokimeki Memorial, a great Japanese dating game. Diego would probably really like that game. As do I. Where's Splatterhouse on here? There it is. I do like X. I do like X Japan, my friend. Nice atmospheric music here. Yes, I like X very much. Okay, we're going. Right off the bat, very smooth gameplay, nice graphics. The PC Engine really was underappreciated in the United States. I mean, I was a big Sega person. But definitely, if the PC Engine had been marketed in the United States like it was marketed in Japan, it would have, I think, it would have stuck around all the way through up until the PlayStation. This does have a nice pick up and play feel to it, which is exactly the kind of games that I like as someone who is a fan of video games but doesn't always have the most time on their hands when it comes to being able to play video games. What's your favorite member of X Japan and why? What was it? Yoshiki ended up doing keyboards for Globe when TK tried to start playing guitar. Is that correct? Probably Yoshiki. Didn't they have they had a drummer who ended up with like neck problems, right? From like headbanging so much. You know, I mean, the fact that the TurboGrafx was, people will say like, oh well, is the TurboGrafx really a 16-bit system? Is the PC Engine really a 16-bit system? I mean, I don't know, but I'm telling you right now, the visuals on the PC Engine are really unique and as vibrant or more vibrant than really anything on the of its competition. You know. Now, do I think the PC Engine is better than the Super Famicom and the Sega Mega Drive? Not necessarily, no. Considering that I haven't really played a lot of PC Engine. But what I have played of the PC Engine games, the gigantic, vibrant, well-animated sprites are really good. I think Sega had the smoothest gameplay. I think Super Nintendo had the most power and the best RPG variety. I think people are kind of stuck in the raw hardware for too long. I headbang while drumming, and it hasn't happened yet. Alright, we're on stage 2. Would have probably led people disregarding the capability of the hardware itself. The other thing that I think hurt... I hear you, man. I think the other thing I think that hurt the PC Engine is ugly box art, and they, I don't think, brought enough of the good Japanese games over. You know, like, I think obviously Rondo of Blood was late in its release, but that's a game that was like just left in Japan. There was a lot of good RPGs that got left in Japan. Cosmic Fantasy 2 is an amazing video game, and that's a whole series, you know? I mean, so I think if they just kept putting out quality product, that they would have been able to cultivate more of a fan base. But and also put out the Japanese box art, you know? I hope I didn't die there. Yeah, no, good. I think it was wise to play Splatterhouse instead of Trilogy. We've been playing a lot of beat-em-ups. The Bit Wars really did a number to video game consoles. It was all about which had better tech specs. Yeah, yes, Yoshiki had the coolest, baddest drummer. Yes. Okay, cool. Darn it. Game over. We're playing more of this here. Yes, I want to continue. I'm going to pause this game and grab a chair. I'm literally, like, squatting down next to the telephone here. And while I do love working my quads, my favorite is Hyde, the one with pinkish reddish hair, who's sadly no longer with us. That's lame. I knew one of the guys in X died, so that's really sad. All right, let's play some Splatterhouse. I've been trying to go through Rondo of Blood, but it's really hard. It's a great game, though. We're down to 15% battery, so this really is going to have to be our last game. You know, like, it's weird, too, because Arrow's talking about, like, the Bit Wars and stuff, and, like, different parts of the world, they had their different preferences. Like, here in the United States, the Sega Genesis was... I mean, even though the Super Nintendo was always really popular, I think the Sega Genesis, as someone who lived through that time, the Sega Genesis was more popular than the Super Nintendo. It had a better reputation. If there were two versions of a game, the better version was usually on the Genesis. So, I mean, It was Sega always had the. It was always like, at least in terms of my friend group, interpreted as the number one, and Super Nintendo was the really good number two. And but then in Japan, like Sega was a very firm number three behind the Super Famicom and the PC Engine. And then in the United States, the PC Engine didn't do anything other than like have a lifetime fan in Macaulay Culkin. Apparently, remember there's like a thing of supposedly in Europe, home computers took control of the video game market more than consoles. I've heard that. I never actually played this game, but the ending is pretty good. Interesting. So you've watched like people play this game, Tony? I like it. It's good. It plays smooth. It's smooth but slow in a good way. It's got a very methodical, moody feel to it, but the synthesizers in it don't make it feel too heavy, which is nice. But what does make it feel heavy is the spike causing your body to sink into this mysterious sewer. Brazil also had the Sega. Yeah, Brazil, the Mega Drive was not just the Mega Drive, the Master System was huge there. I mean, they were making Master System stuff all the way up through the late '90s. Like, there's a really good port of Street Fighter 2 on the Master System that looks like a low quality Sega Genesis game. Like, I think I read this. I remember like watching a thing about it online, and like they basically tried to sell the game to Capcom as a Genesis game, and they're like, well, this game needs more work, and they're like, well, actually, it's not a Genesis game, it's a Master System game, and the Capcom's like, dear Lord, I've never seen the system be pushed that hard. So yeah, and then like you had I think I saw Angry Video Game Nerd or something. I can't remember. I won't spoil the end if you ever want to see it for yourself. Yeah, I'm gonna play it for myself. We'll do one more go at this, and then we're gonna wrap things up because the battery on my cell phone's gonna die. Sadly. I haven't seen too much of the Angry Video Game Nerd. Like, I don't like dislike him or anything, but I don't know. I'm more into I don't know, the more chill people. Angry Video Game Nerd plays a character who seems like he is very kind of comedically toxic about things, which is fine. I'm kind of more like, I want to see somebody who likes it. Like, you know what the best video game channel is Classic Game Room. Like that, like Mark from Classic Game Room, he's the freaking best. I think Pat the NES Punk had a few collabs with the guy. You're right. In fact, I've heard Pat the NES Punk's popularity basically, in large part, be attributed to the Angry Video Game Nerd. Because people who don't like Pat the NES Punk are always like, "Oh, you're only popular because you hopped in on some Angry Video Game Nerd videos." And I haven't seen those videos. Pat the NES Punk, though, he's not that knowledgeable. Like, I remember him saying things like, "Well, why are there so many fighting games on the Neo Geo Mini?" It's like what? Like, I mean, like, the game that the SNK keeps putting out is the King of Fighters. I always enjoyed modern vintage gamer when it came to gaming channels. Cool, I gotta check that out. I don't think I've ever watched that channel. Classic Gaming Quarterly has some nice stuff. I'm not that big a fan of the Video Game Historian. I like his stuff, but the whole kind of I don't like the piano opening to his show. That's my only criticism of him. You know, I think he can be a little bit too melodramatic with his delivery as well. But I do like his videos are very good. But Guy Gillionaire is by far my favorite documentary-based YouTube channel. Gosh darn it. I'm so cool. The ladder is right there, man. We almost made it. Very heavy on technological portion of games. It's funny. There is a lot of episodes I remember. My favorite Big Rigs commercial. He does it funny. Cool. Seems like the big tricky part here is not getting sandwiched between those like those sewer monsters here. I would you know what's like really fun video game content to watch on YouTube? Look into the history of Night Trap. There's some interesting stuff there, and there's a really great interview with the CEO of Digital Pictures, and he talks about the whole development of Digital Pictures games and how they were started to be developed for the Nintendo PlayStation, and they were originally going to be made for like a VHS based gaming console. So yeah, just looking at the history of Night Trap and Digital Pictures, it's really interesting stuff. The comment was talking about the video game nerd. I will check out more of his stuff, definitely. Well, guys, sadly, we are running low on battery, and it's still early enough that I think I can get some Final Fantasy in before I am rendered unconscious. So, once again, I really, really appreciate you guys stopping by and chatting. I hope you enjoyed our time together, checking out some games. Once again, I'm sorry if not all of the visuals transferred to in the most ideal capacity. But I don't really know how to, affect things like the arcade cabinet. So we'll worry there. Thank you, arcade cabinet, for all your work. Yes, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you. So, I will see you guys in the near future, maybe, I don't know, a few days from now. And take care of yourself. Keep an eye on the YouTube channel, because I'm always going to be uploading some new videos. We just have had 2 videos about 90s celebrity scams that I have been involved in. One with The Big Show and one with Gina Lee Nolan from Baywatch. So check those out on the Noel ComiX YouTube channel. I will likely have a review of Fatal Fury Wild Ambition for the PlayStation coming soon. So keep an eye out for that. And thank you so much for all your friendship and support. And I will see you guys in the very near future. Take care. Good night. Bye-bye.